Imagine this. You are a young girl, let's say 14 years old. You live in an impoverished, poor town in Niger, and I've heard rumors about several of your classmates getting married soon. For now, you are relieved that your parents haven't brought this subject up. At least not yet, but you know soon it'll happen. Marrying a man with no age limit. He could be 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60. But that's how your dark, uncertain future looks right now, as well as more than 12 million girls. Hello everyone, my name is Valerie Wu, and I'll be talking about child marriage. Today I'll be addressing the topic of child marriage, including a general background of what it is, some statistics that enunciate the problem, areas that are worth highlighting on the map, the effects of child marriage, the human rights that child marriage violates, current efforts to end this problem, and my personal proposal on how to combat child marriages. Firstly, when discussing the topic of child marriage, we have to establish a definition. In this case, we're going to use UNICEF's definition, which is any formal marriage or informal union between a child under the age of 18 and an adult or another child. Evidence of child marriage has stemmed from as far back as 2350 BC in Mesopotamia, but has notably been a common custom since ancient Greece when early marriage and teenage motherhood was expected. However, even after all this time, child marriage is still a very prevalent and pressing issue. It's quite disgusting to even imagine kids getting married at our age to an older, possibly manipulative person, let alone be in that situation. To give you all a sense of how severe the problem of child marriage is, here are some considerable statistics. According to Pew Research Center data analysis, currently more than 117 nations, including the US, allow children to be married. In addition, 1 in every 5 girls in the world get married as a child, causing their childhood to be cut short and forcing them to mature fast and early. Furthermore, globally, girls who get married before 15 are almost 50% more prone to physical or sexual intimate partner violence than those married after 18. And lastly, more than 12 million girls under the age of 18 are getting married each year, which reveals the high level of severity this problem holds. While child marriage is a global occurrence, there are certainly some specific places where rates are higher. So for example, in West Africa, Central Africa, and in South Asia, the social norm is to marry the girls young and be accepted by their local community. In addition, girls who are from families in poverty will get married earlier because marrying resolves several problems, including paying debt, as well as forming alliances with other families. In these regions, some significant countries stand out: Niger, Central African Republic, and Chad, to name a few. 76% of girls in Niger get married by 18, as well as 61% of girls in Central African Republic and Chad. The bar chart on the right shows the top 10 countries with the highest child marriage rates. Now you might be wondering, why is child marriage so bad? Well, there are many negative results to child marriage, especially towards the bride. To start, when a girl gets married, she's expected to drop out of school and end her formal education studies. Not only is it extremely hard, even close to impossible, to return back to school after dropping out, but job opportunities in the future will be immensely limited, resulting in poor economic situations. Next, child brides are at a higher risk of health issues, such as fatal pregnancy complications and sexually transmitted diseases like HIV and AIDS. Adding on, girls in a marriage have an increased chance of suffering from sexual assault, as well as domestic violence and more. This can also lead to getting pregnant and having a child that she might physically and mentally not be ready for. Along with the physical damage that child marriage promotes, it can also take a toll on her mental health. Studies have shown that child brides are more likely to experience depression, emotional distress, and/or severe anxiety. And lastly, child marriages only further encourage the gender inequality that is already ingrained in these communities. Since these affairs are commonly between minor girls and men who are much older, the power is held in the hands of the man and whatever he wants to do. Therefore, the entire community becomes further entrenched in patriarchy. Moving on, child marriage violates multiple human rights that are fundamental to the everyday life of being a human being. First, child marriage violates Article 2 in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is freedom from discrimination. As men are commonly seen as more powerful in society's eyes and women are unfairly discriminated against and seen as less valuable. In a child marriage, the woman has no say in the decisions being made. Next, child marriages violate Article 16, which is the right to marry and found a family. If girls are forced into marriages, most of the time unwillingly, they won't have the freedom to marry someone they choose to and want to marry, and also raise a family when they're ready to. In addition, child marriages also disrupt Article 25, the right to adequate standard of living. Under this category, the right to health is extremely emphasized. So if child marriages threaten the physical and mental health of young girls on a large scale, then how could that possibly be justified? The answer is that it's not. Young girls are getting raped, harassed, verbally assaulted, and more in these relationships with men, and it contradicts every part of Article 25. And lastly, child marriages also contradict Article 26, the right to an education. After marriage, girls almost always drop out of school, which often prevents them from escaping poverty due to the lack of job opportunities in the future. Now let's talk about some of the leading forces in combating this problem and what they're doing. Some efforts by organizations and groups have focused on ending child marriages across the world, most notably UNICEF and Zonta International's collaboration. As stated on UNICEF's website, the combined force targets 4 main areas and strategies that will advance them to their goal of ending child marriages. The following set of tactics have also been used by other groups. First, by raising girls' access to education, more young girls who are possibly brides will be likely to stay in school instead of dropping out. Second, they strive to educate parents and communities, especially those practicing the custom of child marriages, on the numerous dangers it presents. By raising awareness on the problem at hand, the goal is to steer communities away from continuing to marry off their daughters young. Third, by increasing economic support to families, a very important incentive for child marriages will be demolished. In the arrangement of a child marriage, the man usually pays a bride price to the girl's parents, which can be extremely beneficial, especially when they're from a poor family. So by securing families' financial stability, they won't feel obligated to marry off their daughter for the money. Fourth, legal and policy changes are a main area of target for many organizations. As of right now in the US, only a handful of states have a minimum age of marriage, without any exception, which is 18 years of age. However, across the globe, many countries either don't have a minimum age of marriage law, or citizens can marry before 18 with parental consent or judicial authorization. By putting these laws in place and strictly enforcing them, child marriage rates could be decreased dramatically. So what can we do to further prevent child marriages? Well, there are a few key strategies that can help us end this global issue. I propose creating a program to educate girls and their families about child marriages and its dangers. Next, we can host events in communities across the world, especially in those who have high child marriage rates. By doing this, we will be able to unite the community and shift the entire community's perspective. Since many families participate in child marriages to also be accepted by the community and not to be the outcast, these events have the ability to change the views of individuals and the community as a whole. We can also empower girls so that they're educated about their human rights regarding the refusal to marriage, their legal rights, and how to support their health. In addition, these empowerment programs can also focus on mental health, which can be used to improve confidence. And finally, we can advocate for women representation in governments and overall spread awareness to this issue so that governments feel pressured to make laws in favor of ending child marriages. Thank you for listening.